a shaker and mover in the community, and but at the same time, you're also extremely humble. But today, we want you to not be humble.
Well, alrighty then. I done got my instructions.
Right. So, because we want people to know who you are and the work that you do for our community.
Yes.
So before we get into your work, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are and where you grew up, and how you became the person you are today.
Oh my gosh, how much time do we have? Like, no. Let me just say, there's I'm in this credit space, right? And I'm just gonna be transparent, because that's the only way I know how to be. To me, it's a very tainted industry, right? There's you hear a lot of horror stories, and anybody can just get into the story. There's a reason why people are drawn to my brand, me, what I do. There's a reason why my videos, my mission, my purpose, and everything is so different. It's because of how this all started. And I always say, when you look at somebody, you don't know their story. It looks polished, it looks, all that right now, but that's not how this started. This started with, both of my parents struggling with like addiction. So me being like in and out of foster care, me being in and out of group homes, me having a very troubled, chaotic kind of adolescence. And that led to me, having my oldest son when I was 17 years old. So now I'm kind of unsupervised, not the person I am today, right? And now I'm in the 11th grade and I'm a teen mom. And it's so crazy because I always say the thing that was meant to break me made me that much stronger, because it gave me my reason why. It gave me my reason why. And so when I found out in 11th grade that I was going to be a mom, and I had bounced around, been in shelters, been in group homes, I said, not my son. Like, he will not grow up like me. Like, this will not be his reality. And when you're in that space, being a teen mom and so forth, people are saying, you're not going to graduate high school, you're going to be on welfare, you ruined your life. And I already had, look, the odds were already stacked against me, right? And it's so crazy because it was like an epiphany. It's like I automatically started, I graduated from high school on time, I got a job, doing computer technical support, and that would let me working for the credit bureaus. I worked for TransUnion, and look at God, because I actually ended up buying my very first house at the age of 21, and I only made $14 an hour. $14 an hour when I bought my very first house at 21. The one they said wasn't going to graduate, the one they said there wasn't going to be anything, and like why you figure 21-year-old, everybody's partying, they go to Miami, they go to Cancun, and living their best life, and I was working on my credit, saving down payment money, and doing everything, and that right there was like I call it my belief house. I actually still sometimes put it in presentations, because that right there showed me that if I can learn how to look good on paper, I can change my life. And then that led to me having 2 degrees from Villanova University, having multiple businesses now, retiring myself. I've been retired. I will never work for somebody a day again in my life. And it all started with me figuring out that if I can look good on paper and be responsible with it, I can create legacy. Legacy. Too many people are using their credit to get Benzes and go on vacation and get red bottoms, and they don't even understand that it's actually a system. And if you learn how to look it on paper and actually put it into income producing assets, nobody's saying not have lifestyle. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you do it the right way. You use your credit, you put it into income producing assets, and those assets pay for your lifestyle. You want a Benz, great, buy the duplex. And then let the tenant's rent pay for the mortgage and pay for your Benz. And then that Benz is taxed right up for your business. That's how you do it.
That's what I say. I that's how the same thing.
So that's part of how it started.
But starting with that beginning, you said that what some would use or think would break you, for you was really fuel.
Yes.
And how at a young age, you were 17, you're talking like going into like early adulthood.
Yeah.
How at that time were you able to have such a mental fortitude to be able to finish school and then ultimately buy your home at a very young age? But
yes.
most people don't own a home at 21.
Especially not making $14 an hour, right?
$14 an hour. Like how were
I would say so. again, like I really wasn't this person yet. So at that point, hadn't been introduced to, you know, mentors, affirmations, goals, like all of those things, journaling. I wasn't this person, right? But it was because I knew I didn't want that to be his reality that I was like, I gotta do better. Like for me, and so you have to remember,
so your child became your why.
My child was my why. Like literally, like I didn't even know the reason why I was. I just knew that I was coming from such a broken place. I was always so hurt and so angry when I was young. Why this? When you're young, you don't know. You don't have the logic yet. You don't understand what's happening to you. So when I became a mother, I was like it almost was like it gave me life. Like it gave me like I was careless and reckless. That's why I always say like he can clean anybody up. I don't judge anybody ever because he clean. I'm light years from where I started, and I was living a very careless life. You know what I mean? And then when I became a mother, when I even found out I was going to be a mother, I just said, I'm going to be his first example of a woman. You know, I said I would never do this to my child. So, and mind you, because I'm in my 40s, right? This is before Instagram, before YouTube, before Facebook. So I didn't buy a house for selfies. I bought a house for stability. Let me say it again. I did not buy a house for selfies. I bought it for stability. So because I had bounced around, I was like, that house right there meant like I had said something, right? So the power of the tongue, life and death in the tongue. So I thought about it, I believed it, I spoke it, and then it became reality. That's why that became my belief house. And then that, and guys, let me just say this. That very first house, because this is another misconception, was that house 8 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms in the suburbs? Absolutely not. I was living in a horrible, crappy neighborhood in a basement apartment where I was paying $475 a month. My house, regular, look, $80,000 upper Darby, right? So everybody may not know, but like just upper Darby, right? It was an $80,000 row home, 3 bedrooms, garage, basement, appliances. Guys, my mortgage, taxes, and insurance were $525 a month. So I was paying $475 for a basement apartment in a horrible neighborhood, like a horrible neighborhood. I shouldn't have been there. To owning a house in the suburbs. It was 3 bedrooms, garage, appliances for only $525 a month. So the message is that you just get started and do the right thing, and then you grow because then I got the next property and I kept that and rented it out. And then all of a sudden I'm an investor, not even knowing then really what an investor was and all those kinds of things, but just figuring it out. And so it doesn't always have to be that you go from the base to the mansion. Just a level up is progress. Every step in the right direction is pulling you closer to your destiny, your goals, your dreams, your vision. So that's what that was. And I had no living room set. I had no dining room set. I joke and say, when you walk in the house, you're like, echo, right to the house, right? But I own the property. Yeah. All that stuff will come later. Just get the house. How
do you know that, you know, you could do that? How did you know you could buy a property at that time?
Because I worked for the credit bureau, right?
Okay, so you were working
yes, and so this is where, and I always say, you know, at that time, again, like I really wasn't like, you know, this person, so I wasn't like, you know, super religious or anything like that, but I was spiritual, meaning that I just knew there was a higher power, right? And what are the odds? You know how many, so let me just say this, there are tens of thousands of people who are in credit repair. There is probably less than like 10 in the nation that are in credit repair, credit consulting, that actually work for a credit bureau, and I'm one of them. That is in this space. Now I want you to think about that. When you hear about people talking about credit, oh, I taught myself, I fixed my own credit, this and that, half of them aren't even board certified. So the fact that I learned it from the other end, I updated thousands of reports across the nation before I even got to credit consulting for myself. You can't even do it for a certain lot of like non-competing disclosures and legal stuff and all those kinds of things. So when you work somewhere like that and you don't take that knowledge for yourself, you're a fool. So I learned, I was like, oh, I gotta pay my bills on time. This is what lenders are looking at. I had to get certified in the Fair Credit Reporting Act. I had to get certified in debt laws. I had to get certified in bankruptcy laws. So for my job, I had to get certified in all these things, and I just applied it to my own life. I was like, mind you, I was 21, so I didn't have like a bunch of student loan debt. I didn't have 50 cars. Like, you know, I had a credit card. I had like a personal loan. I paid those things on time because I didn't have a lot of debt. Is how I could do it with $14 an hour. So, you know, and then that's why everything went to the house. It was only $80,000. So I was like, oh, I can do this, pay my bills. I got a job. I got my down payment. And then on top of that, Let me tell you something. It cost me $1,800 to buy that house with an FHA loan, grant money, and 6% sales assistance. People are paying more in first month, last month, and security to rent than to own for some of these programs. Real talk. $1,800, less than everything, less than every single apartment to own. So it was that knowledge and working in that just carried me through.
I think we need to just pause for a second.
Are you overwhelmed? I'm sorry. He should have warned you. Did you warn him?
I think we just gotta pause because
It's a lot.
that's a lot to soak up.
Okay.
I want people to like.
And I talk fast.
No, it's not you, but it's just you dropping a lot of gems.
Oh, well, all right then.
That I think that we just need a little bit of time to process because I'm over here like which one right here? Everything you're saying.
He's already changed his whole situation.
You want me to do a summary?
No.
I can do that.
I just want to make sure that our audience is processing what you say because everything that you're saying makes so much sense, and it's almost like you being the anchor of the ship for many of us right now.
Absolutely.
You discovered this power at a really early age,
I did.
and nobody was there. Nobody taught you, but now it's God bless you for doing it for so many of us.
Yeah.
And you keep bringing God. I'm like, yeah, you know, God put everybody. God's had a purpose for all of us. You definitely serving your purpose. So you mentioned something about this misconception about credit.
Yes.
And I think this is like a flight or a fright for many of us when we hit credit card or we hit credit report. I want to buy a house. Some people are like, they gotta check my credit. That's like instinct. They just run away, right?
Right.
So walk us through like this misconception about what people have about credit and credit report, and what is the fact that they need to know.
Absolutely.
To make sure that this is something that is so important.
Absolutely.
But it's all about like knowing the right information.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that's the number one problem. That's why I have like my course now. I'm working on, I do like a lot of schools and nonprofits and events. I'm working on a curriculum. One of the biggest problems is they don't teach it in school. They don't teach financial literacy, they don't teach entrepreneurship, they don't teach wealth building. So what happens is that people are taught how to be employees, and nothing is wrong with that, but you do need multiple streams of income. And I always tell people, I don't care what you like to do. I don't care if you like to cut hair, you can own barbershops. If you like to cut grass, you can own a landscaping business. If you like to paint, like, you know what I mean, you can always do something for yourself too, because that's ownership. And so one of the biggest things with school and college is that they just don't teach it. So it leads to adults who have no idea about credit, no idea about leverage, no idea about wealth building, no idea that it's possible. It's crazy because they'll let you get $200,000 in student loans, but they won't teach you how to get a $10,000 business loan. Let me say it again. They will let you get $200,000 in student loans, but they won't teach you how to get a $10,000 business loan. So because I had the knowledge, I didn't realize there was such a gap. And honestly, most of the people that do know about credit, they got taught from like their grandparents, and they're like a family of entrepreneurs or investors. We don't even have the conversations. How many of us can say we've been at the dining room table and our parents were talking about just balancing their checkbook, paying their bills? So what I would say to everybody, and I'll go back more into the credit piece, is that it starts with having a conversation. I know you have different age groups who may be watching, right? Just having a conversation, even small enough as teaching your 8-year-old and your 10-year-old, giving them allowance and teaching them, you put some amount up for savings, you put some up for tithing, this is your amount for spending. Because the relationship, the behaviors, if you learn the behaviors, how to manage money, your relationship with money, young, that will translate into how you manage your money when you're older. God can't bless you with $1 million if you can't manage 30,000, right? And so it's about just learning about it. And so the biggest things that we don't know about it. Now you fast forward to 2021, we're in the information stage, right? So this is where there's YouTube, there's Instagram, there's all these things. A blessing and a curse. And I'm going to be honest, right? Because the blessing is that information is much more readily available, right? But the curse is that anybody can get on. Say, I'm a credit expert. There's so much bad information. So I'm going to say something else to everybody on here. And this is like, I don't care whether you follow me or somebody else. When you're following somebody, I don't care what the industry is. I don't care if it's real estate. I don't care if it's wholesaling. I don't care if it's marketing and branding. I don't care if it's credit. Anybody can say that they're an expert. Pay attention to who endorses them. You can't fake that. I was on Eric Thomas's Rebuild. Eric Thomas is verified. I work with Jamal King, the 9-to-5 millionaire. I'm board certified credit consultant in a national database with an A1 rating. Look, numbers don't lie. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Right? And so this is where like anybody can say that they're, and then, you know, just like how I know, like I have a ton of lenders, realtors, and brokers who endorse me. So that's different from a brand where I'm a credit consultant. And she's like, my girlfriend fixed my credit. My cousin fixed my credit. Then your broker, your realtor, your lender saying, if you want to get this mortgage, you need help, this is who you go to. So that's what I'll say that one of the biggest misconceptions that people get. So you go to seek the information, but you don't have a credible source. So first the gap is that it's not taught in school or at home. Then the next gap is and you're like, okay, I want to learn, but you're not checking a credible source. Guys, perception is not always reality. So whenever you're checking a source, make sure they have the knowledge, skills, and experience that actually get you results. Do they actually do what they say they do? Can other people validate that? Then the next thing is understanding why do you want to know, like learning the process. People, we are in a microwave society, right? People want to go from working a part-time job at Giant to being a multi-millionaire real estate mogul in like 6 months. It's not going to happen. Grow through the process. Learn what is credit, what are credit scores, how to read my report, pull your credit report. What is on your credit report, guys? If you have no idea about credit at all, just start with pulling your own credit report yourself. Stop just looking at the scores. Read the actual report. Do I have an auto loan? Do I have a personal loan? Do I have student loans? Do I have collections? Like, you know, so many people, I do strategy sessions all the time and people have no idea what's on their actual credit report. That's like the basics, you know what I mean? And then setting a goal. This has been the game changer in my business and my life. SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely. That acronym. Example, I want to buy a house one day. That's not a goal. It's not a goal. A SMART goal is that I'm a 600 credit score, I need to be a 640 credit score, and I need to save $5,000 down payment money to qualify for an FHA mortgage pre-approval with 3.5%, and I'm going to do that by December 1st, 2021. That's a SMART goal. It was specific, I need to qualify for a mortgage pre-approval. It was measurable, 640 credit score, 3.5% down, you know, having a verifiable income. And you put a date to it. You didn't say, I just want to buy a house one day. I just want to start a business. I just want to be a real estate investor. A goal without a date is just a dream. You must put a date to it. And then you hold yourself accountable. That's it. And so, the other misconception I want to say is that a lot of our parents and grandparents, right? Credit's the devil. Don't ever get a credit card. Pay everything in cash, right? But what people don't even realize is that the credit scores only came about in like the 1950s. The credit bureaus actually only started adopting it like around 1991 or so. I have to double check the numbers. But that's so a lot of our grandparents and parents, they don't mean any harm. They don't know. They didn't grow up in the age of credit. They needed $100,000 to buy a house. They don't understand doing 3% for an FHA loan. So sometimes if they don't know, you can't go to them for the information. So it's fairly new, this credit system. Guys, it's a blessing. Because I have clients who have multi-million dollar real estate portfolios and clients who work part-time at Giant. And the person who works part-time at Giant has a higher credit score and more borrowing power because they have a full-time job and no debt and their scores are higher. Guys, your credit report has nothing to do with money. Nothing to do with money. I have lawyers, some professional athletes, like I have some very cool people who are clients, the same as everyday people. You just have to show it's your financial integrity. It's your financial integrity. Somebody gave you money, did you pay it back? That's it. People overcomplicate it.
So
I know. I was that
this is a lot of good information and a lot of like some meat.
I'm sorry.
No, this is great. This is great. You know, when people start building their credit, like let's say, you know, you're a person, it's like, you might be people watching this who don't have any credit cards or
Yeah.
are just on that journey of like beginning to build their credit. Where do you start? And for a lot of people, I think typically you think, okay, I want a 700 credit score, I want an 800 credit score, and that's just the goal.
Right.
So like, how should people be thinking? Like, is that an okay way to think? Like, or how should people be thinking about, you know, credit when they first begin?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna give you
That's a great question, Terri. Before that, you
Mhm.
answer that. Can you also, what's your definition of credit? Can you define?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Mm.
yeah. So in its simplest terms, all it means is that you have gone to a lender, some type of lender, maybe a bank, maybe a credit union, maybe a credit card company, and you have asked them for credit. Credit can be multiple types of things. It could be a credit card, it could be an auto loan, it could be a mortgage, it can be a credit card. You've asked them for financing and they kind of evaluated you and they said, yes, you know, you want some credit, we give you the money, and then you're going to have terms, right? How you're going to pay it back. If you pay it back on time, you build up good credit. That means that other companies will want to give you more credit. But if you don't pay it back on time, you kind of default, or you have late payments, or you just don't pay it back at all, then they're going to put that on your credit report that you didn't pay it. And then other companies don't want to lend to you because you're high risk. So this is where you're in control. When somebody gives you credit, if you pay it back on time, they report to the credit bureaus that you've paid it on time. If you don't pay it back on time, they report to the credit bureaus that you did not pay it back on time. Then it makes it that much more difficult for you to get other credit. Because, and I want you to think about it. If you came to me and asked for, you know, $100, and you came to me and asked for $100, and I gave it to you, and then you paid it back, great. Let's say 2 months later, you asked me for $200. Because you paid me back that $100, I might be like, sure, here goes $200. You paid it back to me, I'm like, great. The next time you come to me, you say, Terri, I need $500. I'm like, he paid back the 100, he paid back the 200. Your patterns, your payment history shows that you're likely to pay it back. So I give you the 500. Now let's say this time you don't pay the 500 back. Then 2 months later you ask me for 1,000. Now I'm like, no, you didn't pay back the 500. Do you see what I mean? So if you think about you and your friends, you know you got that one friend that may always ask you for money, they'll never pay you back. Now when they come to you, they have bad credit with you. You're like, no, you don't ever pay me back. But your coworker, your friend, your sister, brother who asks for money, they may need help every now and then, but every time you give them money, they always pay it back. They have good credit with you. So you're more likely to always give them money because you know that their word is bond. Look, I'm old school, word is bond. Meaning that they say they're going to pay it back and they're going to. Did that help, guys?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So let me say, if this is all brand new to you, and you were like, oh my gosh, what is she saying? She is loud, she is talking fast. I only know how to be loud and fast, okay? They told me to be that. But this is where at least start with pulling your credit report. So go to annualcreditreport.com. I'm not sure when you guys, if we can maybe like put it in like the description or something of that nature, but annualcreditreport.com. Guys, that's the only website authorized by the Federal Trade Commission to give copies of reports to consumers. Soft inquiry, that report is very wordy, right? So it looks very different than any other report you'll ever see. It's because it's supposed to be written in a way, if you have no knowledge about credit, you can read it and understand it. So that's why it looks like that. So literally get the report and read it. It will say personal information, public records, negative accounts, positive accounts, date open, date closed. It will walk you through it. Start there. If you want your scores, because that report will be a credit report, a full credit report, but not scores. If you want your scores, go to Credit Check Total or My FICO. I recommend those two because they're the most kind of closely aligned scoring models with what lenders are using, right? And Credit Check Total specifically uses like a FICO 8 scoring model, but you can get a tri-merge report for $1, guys. $1 for like a 7-day trial. You pay the $1, get your scores, cancel the next day if you want to, that way you're not charged monthly, so you just paid $1, right? Just start knowing where you are. Do not use Credit Karma or Credit Sesame. OMG. OMG. I'm gonna just say this. Just because something is free, that you get exactly what you pay for. Let me put it like that. And because it's free, like nobody that really has a financial background endorses those websites. And if you're working with a credit person and they tell you to use creditkarma.com, you better block them and delete them. I said it just like that and I meant it. Like really, so it's because the scoring model is a dangerous scoring model, and lenders, especially for real estate financing, for the bigger money, this is wealth building, not a Benz. This is getting a triplex, getting a business loan, all those things. They use FICO scores. It's a different model. I've seen people be like 50 to like 100 to 20 points off just because of the scoring model. So if you want to gauge where you are, you want to use the same scoring model as the lenders use. So always seek to have a FICO credit score. So pull your reports from annualcreditreport.com and read your report. Pull your scores from Credit Check Total or MyFICO. If you have no credit at all, that's fine. You don't need a bunch of million, trillion, billion accounts. You just need the right accounts and using the right way. I actually have on my Instagram page, on my website, on my YouTube, credit builder accounts. This may be a little bit advanced, but one's installment and one's revolving. You can get one of each and just pay them on time. I've gotten people up to 640 and 670 and 680 in 5 months. Guys, your credit goals, I'm gonna just say this too. If your credit is damaged or you have no credit at all, 6 to 12 months. Nobody should be working on their credit for more than 6 to 12 months, period. Look, period. Drop the mic. If you've been paying a credit repair company $100 a month for 3 years, you just got. And when you know better, you do better. Amen?
Amen. You heard it from Terri.
So like literally the only thing is like if you have like a bankruptcy or something like that, you may need like 2 years before you can get approved, but you can still get your scores there. Paying your bills on time for 6 to 12 months, hands down, is the fastest way to build your score. Don't worry so much about the collections. You can build your score faster by building positive payment history as opposed to just so many people do the wrong thing. They have no credit and 3 collections. They are racking their brain. They are stressed out. They are just, oh my gosh, these collections. You're not even trying to qualify for nothing. Relax. Relax. Add the positive accounts, the credit secured card, the installment account. Pay that on 3 to 6 months. You will actually build your score even with those collections on. Then when you're financially able, you dispute those collections and get them deleted or make settlements if they are valid collections that have been validated. So at least when you go for financing, there is zero balance. That's it. People overcomplicate it. Pay the positive things on time, your score will grow, period.
So when you say that positive payment history
Yes.
is the most important thing.
Hands down.
And that's why having an installment loan or having this like payment history through a card, that's why that matters.
Yeah, and I would say like if let's say you don't have a car, but you need installment credit. So installment credit is like a loan. Think of a loan, meaning a car, you go to a car dealership, they give you $30,000 for a car, and then every single month is $400 a month. That's installment credit, meaning it's the same amount every single month, and then when you pay it off in full, because with zero balance and it's closed. Revolving credit is like a credit card, meaning you get a Capital One credit card, let's say it has a $1,000 balance. You can pay it down, but then you can use the money again. So 1 month is $500, you pay it down. The next month is $300. Like, you know what I mean? You can, and it kind of keeps on going on. You can pay it down to a zero balance and it doesn't close. You have the strongest score when you have revolving and installment. But I don't recommend you just go get a card just to get installment credit, right? Because you're getting into debt. Something called self-lender. Like I said, it's in my credit builder accounts on my website. Self-lender is a company, they're big, I'm just mad I didn't think of it. Like, it's genius. They actually call it self-lender because it's like you're lending to yourself and reporting to the credit bureaus. And you get, I recommend if you need to build credit, always do the 24-month option, pay like $25 a month, comes direct debit out of your like checking or savings account. You are not losing that money. They actually put that $25 a month into a CD for you. And at the end of 24 months, they unlock the CD and give you all the money back. And now you have 24 months of installment payment history and not the debt. Genius. I've seen people get like 60, 80 something points with it. If you have all revolving and no installment, you add the installment. If you have all installment and no revolving, you add the revolving. If you have neither, add one of each. You don't need a million accounts. And it's probably even better if you don't have a million accounts. That way you can qualify for your debt to income ratio for things like a house or a business loan.
This info is so important because people the average person knows so little about credit and how to build their credit, and most people know that I'm in real estate.
Yes.
And when I got into real estate, that's when I first started building my credit. Like,
Yeah.
I hadn't had a credit card up until I started in the industry, and so like I've gone through a lot of like the mistakes and whatnot, and honestly, thank God that Terri is someone who's definitely helped me out a lot through that process. But I actually have an installment loan that I've been paying off. Literally, this is like my third year. I got one more year left.
Love it.
But the first thing I started with was a secured credit card.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was first building that, I would use the full amount of the card.
Oh.
It was like $20 in it.
Right.
And so I used the full amount of the card. And I remember seeing one day like my score just tanked.
Yes.
I'm like, I've been paying it, each month, and I thought like I was building my credit, like what's going on? But I just didn't, wasn't unaware of certain things. So can you talk about what a secure credit card is, and then can you also talk about the different components that go into your credit score?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, most of us know about like utilization rate and things about that a lot of times, but most people aren't thinking about the other components that go into.
Yeah, absolutely. And so a secured credit card is a great way to start building. I actually recommend if you have no credit at all or very damaged credit, starting with like the credit builder card. There's a link on my Instagram, because it's a soft inquiry and of course to all 3 credit bureaus. So one thing that people don't realize is you can actually still be denied for a secured credit card, which I think is absolutely ridiculous because you're giving them the money. So what a secured credit card means is say your bank is Wells Fargo, and you're going to them for a secured credit card and maybe $500. That means you give them $500, a security deposit, and they're going to give you a credit card that's actually equal to $500, right? But so you had the $500, but you're doing it specifically to build credit. So then you can use the credit card, and the combination of using it on time and keeping the balance low will actually help to build your score. As you do that and your score raises, then you'll kind of qualify for the bigger credit cards, more money mover Chases and American Expresses. They go to crazy high amounts. But I always say you crawl before you walk, right? You crawl before you walk. Start there, pay that one time, and then you'll grow. For your FICO, you want me to talk about utilization real quick, or?
Yeah, so even with that secure credit card, for example, you still have to keep the utilization low on that, right?
Yes, and if you guys pull your credit report now and your scores are really low, and you're looking at your credit card balances and they're really high, that's the fastest way to build, to boost your score back up, is paying your credit card balances down. Some benchmarks, 30% and under is good. 10% and under is excellent. That's going to give you an extra boost. So what do I mean? Let's say you have a $1,000 credit card. If you have $800 on that credit card, that's 80% utilization. That's bad. That will drop your score severely. They don't like to see. It's like they give you the credit, right? But when you use it, they're like, your score drops. Like you have higher limits, right? So $800 on a $1,000 credit card, that's 80% utilization. That's bad. Now, $300 on a $1,000 credit card, that's 30% utilization. That's pretty good, so you'll be okay. $100, that's 10% utilization, right? That will give your score, that will boost your score even faster. So you always want to have your credit card utilization at 30% and under. So even like with the credit builder card, let's say you do $200. That's not a lot of money, right? People are like, what am I going to do with $200? I tell people, think about, you have to change, everything is about a mindset shift. It is a financial tool to build legacy and wealth. You're not trying to max that out. You're trying to build positive payment history so you can get to the big money. Look, somebody say big money. You can get to the big money, right? So with $200, I tell people, go get gas, get your nails done, get Uber Eats. Use it when the bill comes paid in full. Use it when the bill comes paid in full. Month after month doing it like that. That will build your score tremendously. So that's how you use like the secured card, and that's utilization. 30% under good, 10% and under better. If you are applying for a loan, let's say a mortgage, right? And you're a couple of points off and you have credit card balances, paying them down will give you a boost the fastest thing that you can do.
Yeah. This is great.
This is good.
It's so good. Terri, thank you.
You're
Thank you again
welcome.
for sharing all this knowledge with us. I know Keith's like the number guy.
He's the number guy, okay.
Well, so we talked about utilization rate. What are the other components that go into the score? And I guess when let's say starting with a secure card, you probably only really worrying about utilization. But when you start going into maybe getting a real card and you're just thinking about building and maintaining your credit, what other components are you thinking about?
Absolutely. So I'll break down the categories for the FICO scoring model, right? So the biggest category, 35%, is payment history. That's your biggest category. That's do you pay your bills on time? You can pay, you have that Capital One credit card, you're paying it month after month. You have that one late payment. Guys, that one late payment can drop your score up to 100 points and can be reported for 7. How many years, Terry? 7 years. Guys, I do strategy sessions. I have turned people's whole life around because I have them change their concept about how they manage their money. If you are financially struggling, right? So we're in the middle of COVID-19. It is a reality. Sometimes people are trying to do the right thing, right? They've had a death, they've gotten sick, they've been laid off. If you have to think about that credit card bill, a lot of times the minimum payment may be like $25. Guys, if money is an issue, worry about the utilization later. If you just make the minimum payment, you won't be marked late, and you can work on utilization later. So I always tell people that minimum payment usually is $25, $50, $10 sometimes. Just make the minimum payment, because once you get that 7-year blemish, you can rebuild after, but it takes you so much longer. So pay that payment histories, collections, charge-offs. Are your bills past due, late payments? That all goes into that 35% bucket. That's the biggest bucket. The next biggest bucket is 30%. That's utilization or amounts owed. That's where like the credit card balances and everything come in. High credit card balances, you're going to have a low score. You're going to be low in that category. So those two buckets, people always come to me. How do I fix my credit score? Guys, you just look at the two biggest buckets. Utilization and payment history. If you focus there, that will give you the biggest increase. But the 3 smaller categories that people forget about and that are also game changers is new credit, your credit mix, and average account length. The average account length one is huge. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Say you're building credit, right? And he wants to get a credit card. And remember how I said revolving and installments? That goes into the account type. If you have all revolving and no installment, you're not going to have a high score. If you have all installment and no revolving, you're not going to have a high score. So if you intentionally are trying to build credit, get 1 revolving, 1 installment. Credit builder card, self-lender. That will help that category. Do it the same month. Do it like, we're May. Do it in May. You don't want to add an account May, add an account June, add an account July, add an account August. Because what builds positive payment history, what builds for your personal credit is longevity. They want to see 12 to 24 months of one-time payments. They average it. So if you have an old account, from 2020, but then after every account you're adding, every 6 months you're adding brand new accounts, you keep on chopping that average account length in half. So a bunch of new credit is impacting your average account length and your new credit. So I tell people, when you're being strategic, strategy, guys, can take you so much longer. I need to build credit, I need to rebuild. Do it the same exact month. If you're going to have a drop in your score because the new accounts are being added, I'd rather it all be the same exact month. That way you can rebuild faster. All of them will be 6 months or 12 months or 24 months at the same time. New credit, credit mix, and then like I said, the average account length. So those are the smaller categories. This is why, oh God, what is that company? There's a company called Affirm. Some of you guys may know them and may not. I think they're like a Walmart or Target or something. So they want to tell you guys get these appliances, you can finance it, and get these vacuums, and people can afford them. But no, just because people are there saying that you can finance it, you do. And I see these accounts on people's credit reports: $300, $200, $500, and they're 3 months, 6 months, 4 months, and they don't know why their credit can't build. It's installment credit. They're popping on, popping off, popping on, popping off. You're not doing the longevity. For personal credit, we ain't even talking about business credit yet. For personal credit, that's a whole other animal. For personal credit, it's the longer you have the accounts with no derogatory information and you're keeping the balances down, you're going to have a stronger score. That's how you get to people giving you 6 and 7 figures to go buy your duplex, your triplex, your quad to start your business. Yes.
Wow.
Okay, no, even that's a lie. I'm sorry. I have all this information in my brain. You have no idea.
Thank you for sharing.
So for people who are going in and building their credit, and you talk about this when we first started talking, that the idea is that we're building credit to purchase income-producing assets, and to build legacy, and to build wealth, and leveraging it in that way. So, let's say that you're at that point in the journey. You have a good credit score. Maybe you have some credit cards, or you have good credit. Are there any particular credit cards you should be, applying for? Is it, how do you go about, I guess, increasing your credit lines?
What I would say is this: when I was talking about the SMART goals, you talked about having a goal of like a 700 or an 800. I'm about to blow your mind. I don't let anybody, none of my clients come to me, they'll come to me and they'll say, I'll say, what's your goal? I want a 700 credit score, I want an 800 credit score. I say, that's not a goal. They're like, ma'am, I told you I want a 700 credit score. And I stopped them, I said, you want a 700 credit score for what? The 700 credit for what? What are you trying to do with it? Are you trying to start a business? Are you trying to retire yourself? Are you trying to buy a property? Define the actual goal you're trying to leverage for, and that will dictate your next steps. So if you say, I want a 700 credit score to buy a duplex, right? So sometimes I gotta get it out of them, like, why do you want it? Sometimes I'm like, I don't know why. So I push them, like, what is your goal? Otherwise you'll be working on your credit forever. You'll be chasing credit cards, chasing credit limit increase, and you have nothing to show for it. Let me tell you something. All right, because I just was like, I ain't gonna say where I was, but I was on like, it was probably like last year, we were on like a trip to look at properties with a group of people. And there was somebody like, I got an 800 credit score. And they were like, I got an 810. They were like, 8. Everybody got 8s. I said, that is nice. I said, but what are you doing with it? Because you're not doing anything with it. It's just a number on a piece of paper. I'm not impressed by your 800. I'm impressed by your results. Where are your results? So think about it that way. What do you are you renting right now and you want to be a homeowner so you can leave something to your children, to your brothers and sisters, to your nephews and nieces? Are you a husband and you want to retire your wife? Are you a wife and you want to retire your husband? So you want an income producing property so they can stay home with their kids? I challenge you to think about, if you had a 700 credit score, if you had an 800 credit score, what could you leverage that to do? I don't even care if you like cars. Like, you guys can come on me outside, but like, I have a brand new Jaguar F-Pace sitting out front, right? That I purchased in my business's name for my business with business credit. Now, why am I telling you that? Because normally a luxury car is what? A liability. But because I did it with business credit in my business's name, and then I went and wrapped it with my business logo and everything else like that, now it's a tax write-off. And it's a marketing machine. Every time I drive around, I get no less than 5 to 20 new followers, phone calls, and clients. The car has paid for itself in the very first 3 months. And it's a tax write-off now for my miles and everything. So if you say, I like cars, okay, have a Toro business. Are you doing, Grubhub or something else? Like, even if you have a car, like, how can it be income producing? There's all these, like things you can do with like an actual vehicle right now. So what do you don't need all those credit cards. You just need to actually just, get like a mortgage, like whatever it is you want to do. So go back to what you're trying to use the credit for. That will tell you what your credit score needs to be, how much more credit you actually need.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
You have any friends, Terri?
I have a lot of friends. Amen.
I talk to you, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I would just say, don't chase a credit score because there's different models and the different lenders. So let me just say this real quick. The different lenders have their own algorithm. So your credit score is going to be different if a credit card company pulls it, or an auto loan company pulls it, or a mortgage company pulls it. So that's why I go back to not always chasing a score, because you will be driving yourself crazy because there's different scoring models, right? So right now a lot of people are using FICO 8, but some lenders are still using FICO 5. Something you don't stress yourself out about it. They all look at the same kind of things, but it could be 5 or 10 points off. So if you're stressing over a 700 and the model keeps changing, you're like, I need 10 more points, I need 5 more points. Nonsense. Always remember, your most valuable asset is your time, not your money. Your time, not your money. So don't chase the score, chase the result.
So the scoring model, so if you're going for a home loan, that's going to be a different scoring model than if you're going for a car loan.
Well, it's like a different algorithms is the best way to say it. Meaning like what the lenders look at, like they'll use the FICO scoring model, but think about when you apply for something, you also have an application, right? So they're adding in how much money you make, how long you've been at your job. So for a auto loan company, let's say you had a car that you paid on time previously, they're gonna rate like the auto history a little bit heavier. So let's say you don't have great credit, but you had 2 cars you paid off one time. They're probably going to approve you because they're an auto lender, they're looking at that. For a mortgage company, they're looking heavily at debt to income ratio, right? So this is where you may not be perfect in other areas, but let's say you make a lot of money, have low debt, they'll probably approve you because they're heavily looking at something different. So just think about like the different company, the different types of credit cards, credit lines, mortgages, auto loans. The lenders themselves are looking at a little bit of a different criteria. So your very same report could be a little bit off. That's why I say focus on what you're trying to do, and that will help you dictate what your next steps are.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Yes. Was that helpful?
That's very
No,
helpful.
that was so helpful. So many helpful suggestions here.
I feel like the biggest point of what you're making is the focusing on what is it exactly that you're trying to do? Like, what is the end
Exactly.
goal?
What's your end goal, right?
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
Like literally when I bought that house when I was 21, it was so easy for me. And I'm gonna say it was easy. I'm gonna say it just like that because I knew exactly what I wanted. I said, I'm working on my credit for a house. That's it.
Yeah.
Like I knew exactly, so I knew I just needed down payment money. I was saving for that. I needed a job. I had that. I needed a 640 credit score. I just paid my bills in time until I got to a 640 and went to a mortgage company and said, give me a mortgage. You know, like literally. So it's because I knew what I wanted. Focus. Focus, focus, focus. No, let me just say this. Nobody can get you to your goal if you don't know what your goal is. I tell you, it's like a GPS, right? It's like you gotta know where you are right now, snapshot where you are, and then picture where you wanna be. You put together a plan to get there. But if you don't know where you wanna go, nobody can help you get there.
Right. And I think sometimes when I think about this is how do you simply explain this to an average person, right? Because sometimes I feel
I be like, go to my YouTube channel. I watch some videos.
when you talk about goals, some people are like, I don't know my goals, but it just sounds to me, it's just like, where do you see yourself and work backward from there, right?
Absolutely.
Some people just think that maybe I need to start from the bottom and I need to like climb my way up. No, see yourself at the top.
Absolutely.
And then work your way down.
Absolutely.
So that's sometimes you just have to reverse your mindset.
Yeah.
And I just think for some people that resonate with some, but
Absolutely.
for some people who started at a young age, who had that discipline of like you set goals, and now this is what I have to do. These are the action steps they're following. But the idea, it's a skill set.
It absolutely is.
Set, right?
Exactly is.
But so who you talk to about goal setting and how to go about it matters.
Absolutely.
Right? It's just about
Absolutely.
so I want to sort of like shift it towards behavior.
And can I add one thing to that real quick? Sometimes with goal setting, even if you're stumped, you don't know where you want to go, sometimes you can even focus on what you don't want. Maybe you're like, I don't like this neighborhood, or I don't want to rent anymore, or I'm tired of catching the bus. Sometimes focus on your pain point. I don't like my job, but I love to talk. So I'm gonna start I want to start a coaching business, or I love to cut grass. I want to start a landscaping business. You know what I mean? Sometimes if you don't necessarily have the big picture, that's okay. Maybe you start with just what do you want to change in your life? What would make your life better? And start from, okay, well then I know that, I don't want to work anymore, so I need to start a business. Or, I don't want to pay rent anymore. I need to buy a duplex and do house hacking so somebody else can pay my rent.
So with that, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm on the sideline today. Can you highlight, so once, you told the story of, how to build credit, and now we're at the credit or whatever our goal is. So from there, how can we use that to, build assets or use it as leverage?
Absolutely. So really what I say with assets, assets are going to be income producing, right? And so I'm heavily into real estate. So real estate is like my favorite thing, because I'm like, you're either going to buy it, hold it, flip it. If you have buy and hold, you can, rent it out. You can do Airbnb, you can do Section 8, you can rent out rooms. Like there's a million different things you can do. So just always think about an asset then, being something that's going to be generating income, positive cash flow, tax write-offs, things of that nature. So it could be like stocks, bonds, dividends, things of that nature. Like everybody's kind of thing they want to invest in can be different. I talk about what I know, right? So that's why I talk about real estate, right? And so that's where you can use it for that. Now I also do, because I'm a business owner and I heavily work with entrepreneurs and real estate investors, I'm always like, monetize your passion. Monetize your passion. What is it you like to do? You can make anything a business these days. So then you can be using your credit to kind of look good on paper to get like a business loan, or like, a grant or something of that nature. Maybe, maybe you're an artist and you want to use your credit to get a studio. So you can then do, you know what I mean? Like there's different things you can do, but that's going to be unique to you. But all it means you're not using it for things like furniture, cars, you know what I mean, jewelry, girls trip, you know what I mean, you're not, diamonds and furs, renting a Tesla for the weekend to go out to play. Like, stop it, people. Like, seriously, like I rent cars also. And so this is where, now when I buy a car, I actually look at what kind of cars I rent, like kind of like are the going rate or something, or like can rent fast. And then I buy cars that I know that I can get income from. That's actually even like a little bit less risk than some of the real estate. You can do a little bit faster because a lot of people aren't able to like have a car right now. They don't need one all the time. They just run it when they use it. And so just think about putting it in things that's going to add quality and value to your life. But for real, I mean real estate. They don't play.
So on that note about, let's say, some income producing asset, let's take real estate for example. If you are looking to build your credit for that goal, like let's say you're looking to buy a duplex, or you're looking to buy a triplex or a property, you got personal credit, but then some people start thinking about business credit too, which I just said that's a whole nother.
That's a whole other
But let's touch a little bit on business credit too. I know what business credit is. It could be personally guaranteed, but then there's also, business credit that's solely based on the business itself.
Yes. So there's layers. So real quick, going back to the real estate for personal credit, there's some benchmarks, guys. 620, 640. You don't need a 700 or 800 to get a mortgage pre-approval. So just know that you don't have to be perfect. Change your mindset. You're just going to be good enough to qualify for your mortgage pre-approval. Before pre-COVID, sometimes you go at 580, but 620, 640 will get you some things, maybe like 680, 720, 700 for like conventional, different financial products. Now, business credit, to simplify it, think about your personal name, your personal social, borrowing power. For business credit, your business's name, your business EIN, the EIN number, and borrowing power. That's it. And just like with personal credit, there's different types of personal credit, right? Auto loans, mortgages, credit cards, lines of credit. There's different types of business credit. Business credit cards, business lines of credit, equipment financing, 401k financing, vendor credit, net 30 accounts. There's all different kinds of financing. And this is the biggest misconception. People are like, they're in my inbox, like, how you buy business, how you build business credit? Like, I'm gonna be like, you do these 3 things, you're done. No! Like, I want you to think about it. If it takes you 12, 24 months, if it's a process to get to a 700 or 800 with personal credit, it's a process to build business credit, right? You don't get to an 800 credit score with one account. You're not going to get to get to 100 credit score with business credit into a scoring model with one account. But the blessing, guys, is that if you build business credit the right way and learn how to do it, you can build it so much faster. I have students in my course right now who have gotten between $10,000 and $80,000 the very first 90 days of building business credit because they followed my steps. They followed the tips. I have just got a Benz truck in his business's name. Like literally, like that's going back into like his business, like you'd be surprised. So it's a process. Guys, you can do them both at the same time. And I think I just said this in my video I posted today. When you think about business, people are like, I don't have time to start a whole business. I didn't say start a whole multi-million-dollar. I said get incorporated. Read it between the lines, people. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just get started. You have an idea, you name it, you incorporate, you have an EIN, you have a business bank account and a DUNS number, you're off and running. You're making it look same way, same concept. Personal credit is looking good on paper so you can get approved for financing to leverage. Business credit is your business looking good on paper so you can get approved for financing to leverage. That's it. The more accounts you have of business credit, the better your score is. Yes. Look, you like question. Who wants a question then? You got a question.
Wait, just for the audience, can you highlight what is leverage? I don't think we touched on that.
Yes. So basically with leverage, if I had to simplify it, that means using like your credit score to get like approved for the financing. Meaning like, say you have a $100,000 duplex. Normally, if it was cash, you would just need $100,000, right? But when you have a good credit score, let's say you have, an FHA loan, leverage means you can only put down 3%, like $5,000 or so forth, and then the bank will finance the rest. So you leveraged your credit score to get a duplex. You didn't need $100,000 cash because you had good credit, so you were able to put down a portion of it. That's what kind of like what it means. So, and think about it as other people's money, OPM. Building your legacy with OPM. That's really what credit is. Building your legacy with OPM. Other people's money. You're using the bank's money to build and grow. And that's why you want to be strategic and put into things that are going to be income producing so you can have long-term wealth and legacy.
Basically how America works.
That's how America works.
Yeah.
That's how America, that's why I'm like, you guys are wasting your credit scores on like red bottoms and Chanel bags and like you could be in, like I said, nobody says don't have fun, but then go get the income producing property that pays for that lifestyle. That's all that we keep on building. That's why people get into debt and they get overwhelmed because they're just spending, and they're not doing anything to add to their bottom line.
So now, I forgot what I was about to ask.
Is this too much, y'all?
This is good.
He knows how I am. You should have warned him. He warned y'all.
No, you love your energy.
We'll come back to me.
I just love your energy and confidence. So, we just also want to be mindful of your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It definitely looks like they need to be in part 2.
Okay.
So you keep talking about lifestyle.
Yes. Don't you get me free. I'll be on this podcast preaching like.
Can you unpack that a little bit more in terms of like, what kind of, usually people focus a lot on the positive lifestyle, getting a nice car, getting a house and stuff like that. Based on your experience and based on the people you work with, what is some sort of like lifestyle lessons or lifestyle they lived that you want to share with our audience that they could sort of like take advice from?
Yeah, absolutely.
For those who want to change their lifestyle.
I think so. I actually don't even, I'm just going to be honest, I don't even think of lifestyle in terms of money. I think of lifestyle in terms of freedom. Freedom. Do I got to wake up and punch a clock? Do I got to go to break a certain time? Do I have to ask you for PTO because I'm going to go chaperone my kid's trip? You know what I mean? Like all of those things. I want to go on vacation. Do I have to like wait for, a bonus to come in, or can I do it on my own? Going back real quick, and this is important. I'm so passionate. Like people say, when they talk to me, they say, your energy. And I had Jamal, he always jokes, he says, I never met somebody so passionate about credit. I said, I'm not passionate about credit. I'm passionate about opportunities. I'm passionate about options. I'm passionate about freedom. I'm living a life I never dreamed of. I get chills every time I say it. I'm living a life that I didn't see for myself. I didn't see it for myself, and nobody else saw it for me either. I wake up when I want to. I go to sleep when I want to. I do events I want to. I work with who I want to. I love every minute. That's why I give so much. Like I give a ton because to much whom is given, much is required. So the more that I give, that's why I share. That's why my videos sound so different. I give away thousands. People have gotten 6 and 7 figures off my free content. Forget my group coaching and my programs, off my free content. Why do I give that much money? Because he blesses me abundantly for doing the right thing with this knowledge, right? So wealth building ministry. And so this is where freedom, that's really what lifestyle is. Like how many people are dreading going to work every single day? God did not intend for you to work, pay bills, and die. So what do? You want to spend more time with your son? Do you want to go vacation with your wife? Do you want to travel the world? And you're like, I don't want no darn kids. I just want to travel the world. Like, what would? This is so crazy. I just started a group, Elite 10 group coaching program, right? And one of the people I was asking for the program, I asked them, I said, I was talking to one particular person, I said, close your eyes. I said, close your eyes. Clear your mind for a second. And I want you to picture your the perfect day in your life if you could have whatever you wanted. Like, you don't have to worry about bills, you have to worry about, like, what would your day look like from beginning to end? And guess what happens when I usually have people do that? And I say, close your eyes real quick and just, what does a perfect day look like? Do you know how many people start crying? Do you know why? Because they don't know. They've been so conditioned. We've stopped dreaming. We stopped imagining. We got so into. We got working people. Like we forgot. We forgot to have an imagination. We forgot that we can have whatever we want. Right? Our imagination is a preview of the coming things, of your coming blessings. So we get so bogged down by bills, responsibilities, all those things that we stop dreaming. Think about what your perfect life would be. Like, this is where if I was a billionaire right now, I would be doing this. This is my gift. This is my passion. I was built for this. It changed my life. That's why I'm passionate about it. And so, in terms of lifestyle, it's going to be unique to you. Go back to what you used to think about when you were a kid. What you know, when people ask you, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, what is that thing that you wanted to do? You wanted to be, I don't know, a firefighter, but because your parents said being an accountant was safe, that's what you did. You know what I mean? Like, whatever it is, if you just want to travel, like, go back to what it is that would really create joy. Like, what brings you joy? What brings you happiness? What brings you passion? That's how you create lifestyle. And then you think about, we always talk about, like, say you want to, everybody doesn't want to retire themselves. I'm not saying that, right? So some people love their job, but let's say, you bring in $3,000 a month on your job. You want to let $3,000 a month keep you from your dreams and your goals? So then the only question you're asking yourself is what knowledge, skills, and experience, what leverage, what type of business can I start that can generate $3,000 a month? You can have an online course. It's $1,000 a month. You only need 3 clients a month to replace your income. Come on now. But don't you listen. Listen, don't you get me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so that's lifestyle is freedom.
Yeah.
Lifestyle is freedom.
And I just thank you for saying that, because I just think it's about changing people's mindset.
Yes.
But it's also about people seeing credit as it's like a passport to that freedom, right?
Yes.
See this as a freedom. See it as
See
part
it
of
as
your
a tool.
happiness,
Yes.
right? See it as your passion. So I think when you start using those words, people's like, I want to hear this. That's what they want to hear. Passion,
Right,
what you're passionate about, what makes you
Yes.
happy. But it's just like there's a work part of this, right?
Yeah.
It takes work to be happy, right?
Baby. I want 1 hour of sleep right now. All right, let's not even talk about. It's so crazy that you said that, because I'm a genuinely very positive person, right? I've worked hard to be this person, right? Affirmations, those kinds of things. But I'm human. I have a bad day, and so in transparency, I had a really bad day the other day, right? And everybody knows every Tuesday and Thursday. So Chris, we talk about this. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I do my YouTube videos, right? So I gotta be happy, upbeat, high winners, this and that. You can be. I can't tell you how many times something devastating, or you're crying, or you're depressed, or you're sick. It's a responsibility. I have accountability. If I say I'm going to show up every Tuesday and Thursday, then it don't matter if I'm sick. It don't matter if I'm tired. It don't matter if I didn't eat. It don't matter if I don't feel good. It doesn't matter if I'm depressed. You have to show up 100% every single time. You could be crying your eyes out. Lights, camera, action. Hi! Then you turn it on like you're right back at it. You know what I mean? But you did it. You know what I mean? You have to have that level of no matter what. I always tell people, if failure isn't an option, success is inevitable. I don't do excuses. I don't. How bad do you want it? Because
You said failure is an option.
I said if failure isn't an option, success is inevitable. Like when I launched my business, I didn't do it the right way. Real quick. I got introduced to network marketing and mentors, right? 2015, I got introduced to my church, I got introduced to Eric Thomas, and I got introduced to young minority multimillionaires. Let me say it again. Young minority multimillionaires. Blew my mind. They look like me. That person's not anymore you know what I mean? And I had a great big corporate position, great salary. I was miserable. I hated my job. Made money, good salary, looked on the outside. I used to get anxiety going in. The more I started getting mentored, being around these millionaires, they had life, so they could do whatever they want. The more I started hating my job, and I'm a mom. I want to be around my kids, all those things. So I didn't do it the right way. I teach people how to not do it this way now, but I really just didn't go back one day. Wasn't very smart. Faith of a mustard seed. Wasn't very smart because I had maybe kids and mortgages and things of that nature, but he kept me. Let me tell you what giving away that safety net did. It meant I didn't have the luxury of failing. I did not have the luxury of failing. I built this business to a national brand in 2 years on my own. I didn't have the luxury of failing to have kids. So that means when other people, like, I don't know how to do YouTube, I'm about to watch these videos and figure it out. These first 10 videos about to look horrible, but I'm gonna keep on doing it until I get better because nobody else knows. I don't have the right lighting, I don't have the right car, I don't have the right microphone. Y'all gonna get these videos like this until and you know what? The blessing in that was the authenticity. They saw your website got better, your language got better, your videos got better, your social media got better, your programs changed, more programs came out. It was a process. But back when I was doing clients who were just like, a $500 investment, I had to do more. So that meant I did more. But I retired myself and I never went back. Once you get better, you gotta grow through it. So,
Is this C.A.R.E?
Yeah. I launched C.A.R.E in 2017. I launched C.A.R.E in 2017.
Can you talk a little bit about C.A.R.E and also how people can work with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And become client?
Yeah. Absolutely. So I'm most active on YouTube. You can just type in Terri Couser and I come up. I do videos, free videos every Tuesday and Thursday about personal credit, business credit, entrepreneurship, real estate investing. I always tell people if you're unable, I just started my YouTube channel, the Terri Tip during COVID-19, specifically for people who needed help in this area and were unable to invest in services. It's my give back. It's my give back. So if you can't invest in services, you can go there and just watch videos and go through it. On Instagram, I'm C.A.R.E Credit Tools. So I do, I have personal credit clients. I have a business credit builder program. My new program was launched in February is Credit Leverage Lifestyle. Credit Leverage Lifestyle. And so, like I said, we have clients, I have people, like I'm so proud of the students. And so that's an online course for personal and business credit. And I also do bi-weekly Zooms. So I do live lessons, I bring lenders on, I answer questions, I'm very hands-on with that group. So it isn't like some course you just get a course, it's like go ahead, do it yourself. Like no, they have access to me. I have Elite 10 group coaching, and I have strategy sessions. That's the thing I do the most. Where, if you just want an hour of my time, I've done it for multi-millionaires, for people who just want to learn how to build credit. I've even had parents do it for their children. They want them to learn, have a real quick credit lesson. Think about it, 1 hour with me. You can use it for whatever you want. That's a strategy session. That's right in my link tree on Instagram. You block the time, you make the investment, and then, I will go through and I will give you a customized, personalized plan to get to your goal. I walk you through it. I tell you, I'm like, you do not need to invest. Guys, I'm technically a credit repair company. I don't repair any credit anymore. I shifted to empowering you to do it. Because if I can teach you how to do it, then you have legacy long term and you know how to manage it and grow it. But I was learning with, and when I was doing personal clients, I would do people's credit and I would repair their credit, then they would have a repo 6 months later. I've had people where I got in my house in foreclosure like 5 months later. We did all that work. You never learned the principles and you didn't understand what went into it. You had to do the letters, make the phone calls and all of that. When I empower you, you have that knowledge for a lifetime, you're able to grow. So the strategies with me have equaled 6 and 7 figures for a lot of my clients.
Thank you, Terri, because it's just you just setting up your client for success for the long term.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's about.
That's
right?
that's 1,000% what it's about.
Wow. So it's 8, almost like this.
An hour.
Yeah.
So start rounding it out.
Yeah.
And we would love to also have you back. We'd love like a business credit if we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make that happen. But something that we'd like to ask our guests, when they come on our show is, if you had to give advice to your younger self, like let's take 17-year-old Terri, and you're about to, let's take 21-year-old Terri.
Okay.
Let's take 21-year-old Terri, and you're about to, I guess, venture out, and you just bought his house. You're working, and you have a whole life ahead of you, and without all the wisdom.
Absolutely.
So, what would you say to the 21-year-old you sitting in front of you right now?
Like navigating the landscape.
Based on what you know right now.
Yeah.
Based, like you mean like the specific things, like The advice I would give.
So what would you tell that person? Like, maybe telling that person like, everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah, no. There's a couple of things. So one thing that has been a game changer for me and been a game changer, will be a game changer for a lot of you, is that I don't take business, credit, or financial advice from anybody I would not trade lifestyles with. I need you to hear me. You're having somebody tell you how to buy a house from rents. Tell you how to, tell you how to start a business who isn't an entrepreneur. Tell you how to, work on your marriage and they have a new girlfriend every other week. So the part of the problem, right? Tell you how to repair your credit, they just got their car repoed.
Terri, you said things that is actually applicable to everyone.
So that's what I mean. So a lot of it is the source. So I want you to, like, when people try to give you advice, they mean well, but some people have not gotten to the next level because you're getting guided from somebody who does not have the results. They can't walk you through it. He can walk you through buying a house because he's done it. I can walk you through, you check your source. So I don't take advice from anybody I wouldn't trade lifestyles with. My life started to change when I got around people doing better than me. You have to learn to humble yourself. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, right? So you can close your mouth and listen sometimes. Mentorship changed my life. In some rooms, I'm the expert and I'm speaking. In other rooms, I'm a humble student. I'm a humble student now. I have my mentors are multi-millionaires. If I have 10 properties, they have 55. Do you know what I mean? Like, they have multiple businesses, and it's the character that is doing it for the right reasons. Also, why we give. So that piece, as far as like, mentorship, people doing better than you, and learning how to know that you don't, be smart enough to know that you don't know everything, right? And be able to be a humble student. The other thing is believing bigger, faster. Believing bigger, faster. Like, I have this in me, like, you're capable. Like, I'm speaking to somebody, like, you're capable. You have everything you need right now to get started. Like, you really do. The hardest thing is just getting started. After that, you'll kind of grow through it. And so I would have probably spoke life over me and been like, you want to do what? You have everything it takes. And if you fail, you get right back up. It's part of the process. Every single successful person, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, has failed. Period. It's part of the process. You learn from it, you grow, and then now you know what not to do next time.
I think Toby always asks this question, given your busy life, running so many different things, Terri, what do you do to actually take care of yourself?
Oh my gosh, I know. So no, I actually, because I just said this somewhere, because my life is a lot of noise, right? So I'm always like talking, always people all day. I like quiet time. Like, you know what I mean? I like to go for walks. I like to meditate. I listen to a lot of music that kind of feeds my soul. I'm traveling now the world opened back up. I'm traveling, a lot more. I need like a change of atmosphere. So I go hard. If I want a whole week off, I just say I'm not taking clients. Like, I can do it whenever I want. And so for me, that kind of reset is peace. When I get to kind of be like detached from the social media and the phone and all that, and kind of getting outside and being able to just go for a walk. Like, I don't have to be like, I'm not a mom, I'm not the credit expert, I'm not your landlord. I'm just having quiet time. And I'm very grateful. I spend time saying thank you to God every single day, because even though we can complain when we're busy, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. And so I always practice being grateful.
Thank you, Terri.
Yes, you're welcome.
This is very powerful. I want to say thank you for coming on to our show.
Thank you.
You're very, very nice woman. And something I was telling Sekou and Toby, when we're asking you is, something I was telling them is that, you're someone who I really trust. And in this space, you mentioned the credit space, it's not easy to find, someone who you can really trust with your information.
On the podcast.
And I've been through the mistakes and the lessons and all of that. So I just really appreciate.
Thank you.
On a personal level, just really appreciate you
Thank
and what you're doing.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
No, this has been great experience being with you. I'm like literally excited to get on your page. To really start honestly, sharing some of these takeaways and actually
Absolutely.
practically implementing it. So thank you for everything
You're
you do.
welcome.
Keep doing it. I don't know how you do it, but
I'm up to 4 a.m.
but thank you. But we definitely would love to have you back.
Okay, absolutely.
And then what's the best way to find you? I know you mentioned you got a YouTube page.
Yes, so on Instagram, all one word, C.A.R.E Credit Tools. C.A.R.E Credit Tools on Instagram. And on YouTube, if you just type in Terri Couser, my channel will come up. And obviously, like my link tree and all that, I have my website and our email address. But YouTube, Terri Couser, Instagram, C.A.R.E Credit Tools, all one word. And you'll see, I'll be like, hi winners! I was supposed to be this morning. Hi winners! Happy hands. That's my thing.